it's still NHB still has a messenger program, but none of the messengers that it was programmed to use actually work. The only thing the messenger program does is set the streaming password, because basically Rico. Well, Mars, are you familiar with how the messenger app works? I don't want to repeat myself if I'm just going to bore you.
I do kind of know how it works, but I kind of don't. I mean, I don't know what works anymore. I figured nothing worked
Well,
on it anymore, but
basically, it was an app that was built so that Rico could grant each user their own password, and then it would connect to all the messenger programs. So that way, no one had to have the actual AIM password and MSN password and all that. But also,
very smart, actually.
right. And when you sign into the messenger program, it sets the password for the stream to be your password that you signed in with. So that way we set our encoders to have our own password. So that way we don't have one master stream password. So even though AIM and MSN, and I think Yahoo Messenger is in there too, and it connected to Facebook for so that shows how how old Facebook is now.
Yeah.
That at one point in time it had a Facebook connector.
Dude, we're on version 247 of Facebook or something like that now.
Right. Well, the Facebook connector basically just throws up an error message saying, "I don't know what the fuck this shit is, so close this window now." And
yeah.
Well, actually, it brings up like a login window that will never work. But so the only thing that the Messenger program does anymore is set the stream password to the password that the user has to connect and stream, and so but apparently there was a problem with the NHB server to the point that Rico had to remove access from it. So Dune can't even get into the server anymore. So I think Rico had to physically connect in last time to restart the automation when it stopped working. But now the Messenger program, when I try to sign in, fails to connect and basically says I can't connect to the server. And so I can't set the NHB streams to a password that I can stream to. So we are Twitch and YouTube only again this week, which is most weeks, which is why I'm at the point where I like roll my eyes and I'm like, let's.
If you just had a messenger that did Twitch and YouTube at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get all those messages in StreamYard.
Yeah.
So yeah, the NHB server is kind of on its last legs between you and me and the listeners, all three of you. I don't know how accurate a statement that is. Hardware-wise, it might be perfectly fine, and software-wise, maybe it's patchable and upgradable, and maybe Rico will get that done on the weekend. I don't know, but as it is, my observation is I think that server needs some maintenance, and if it ain't gonna get it, I don't think it's long for this world. But I have no inside technical knowledge.
If there's a brick wall around that server, just let it keep going. And
you know what? I have a feeling that Rico's a draw wall type of guy, and I got a wall saw. I could go. I'll drive up to Minnesota. I'll bring all my tools and
you're not that far. You can make it.
I can make it, and if there's one thing I'm good at, it's putting holes in walls. I could do that. I could.
A pack of rubber bands. Sparky Toaster asks if you have a pack of rubber bands.
Well, Sparky Toaster writes in, and the beat goes on.
Yes.
Classic Vanilla Fudge album. Ruined their career. Let's see. No more legs left. Can you use stilts? Yeah, we're going to put the server on stilts because it's on its
It's like the
legs.
house in Lemony Snicket's. It's like the shack on the stilts.
I don't know where the rubber bands come in. Maybe to hold the server together if the case is physically coming off. That's the problem right there. Yeah. I don't know. I do have rubber bands, but usually I have rubber bands that I throw in a drawer until they dry out, and then when I go and I need one, I pull it and it snaps in my hand.
I don't have any dry rubber bands. I mean, I had some in there
Well,
for
those
like.
things always dry out. You go to reuse a rubber band you saved when you actually need it, and it just kind of go snap. That's it.
See, I have a doorknob full of those because I used to get them on. I used to get them on things in the mail.
A
And so I
doorknob full of rubber bands?
yeah, I do.
What, you open up the doorknob and you fill it with rubber bands, or
No, it's
or
on
you
the
put 'em-
outside. It's on the outside.
Oh, well, doesn't that mean you're getting it on inside when you leave a rubber band on the doorknob on the outside?
I don't. Yes, vacuum seal them. That's how you store the rubber bands. You vacuum seal them.
Vacuum seal.
You vacuum seal them and put them in a freezer,
Ah, okay.
just like coffee. Except I don't do that because I never have coffee around long enough for it to go bad. So
Sparky Toaster asks if there's a proper way to store rubber bands. The drawer that you just throw everything into, well, that's every drawer in my house. You throw them in a drawer, you never know where they are when you need them, and by the time you find one, it just snaps, and then you throw it out. The circle of life. And the beat goes on.
I have a bag with some little mini rubber bands I get my bananas. And then I got the big rubber bands around my door. Then I have some of these mega Hugongo fat rubber bands I use to look at people.
No, according to Sparky Toaster, no, a pineapple sign means that, Johnny. So, you know, it's funny.
Sign.
My junior year of college, my roommate, the first day I meet him, you know, we spoke on the phone the summer before. Guy by the name of Jim, big guy, long red hair, double major, German and English education, which I felt like, you know, if you could teach one language and you know another language, you could teach two languages. Is that really a double major? If it's really just the same thing in two different languages, but but.
Well, I don't know. How well do you speak Mandarin and Cantonese?
I speak them both as good as.
You know what? That's impressive. Which
I
means
can
you got
speak-
the same grade on both.
I can speak Mandarin as good as I can speak Cantonese. So
Nice.
I'll just leave it at that. That is how well I speak both of those languages, equal to one another. If you're on a cruise, never knock on a door with a pineapple on it. Apparently, so that's cruise rules.
Wait,
Unless
a
you are
regular
swinger.
a real pineapple or a picture of a pineapple?
Well, after hearing about this, I'm just avoiding all pineapples on cruises. But then again, cruises, isn't that like a pre-COVID thing? I mean, who wants to
No, they're
go
back
on
on. They're back on. They're fine.
Yeah, but who wants to
back on.
get in close quarters with a bunch of German-fested people?
Oh, just a picture.
I-
Okay. A picture.
just
Picture
a
of a picture of a pineapple. Not a real pineapple.
I-
You don't like core it out and just stick it on the knob, right?
You know, I've thought about cruises. My mom was really big on wanting to go on a cruise. She never got. I don't think she ever got on one.
My
but she
mom
really
used to go on cruises all the time.
But-
She's good
but-
at Ensenada, so.
But even before COVID, when you start reading stories about problems that happen and the toilets back up and people are eating Pop-Tarts, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure that's not every one of them, and that you probably hit the lottery, but do I really want to take that chance?
You know what? My toilet not working. I'm going off the side of the boat. I'm sorry.
I you know, and I kind of cruises sound like fun, but a cruise vacation, really, the point of a vacation is the destination, and so it's like, well, what is a cruise? But
Well, that's part of it.
a hotel filled with a bunch of people. Because the truth about cruises is that there's people everywhere. It's crowded. And so it's, you know, the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's probably not my scene.
You do realize that they go to a destination that just makes a big circle. They go to a destination and you do stuff. Like, my sister went on a
Right.
cruise to Alaska, and they spent like a week in Alaska, in
Right.
different areas in Alaska. So they do
go
that.
to different, but
Yeah.
I could just get to the destination faster if I just planned a vacation to a destination and get on a plane. And if the plane crashes, that's
But
usually
you don't
a
get
quick
to
death.
swim in a swimming pool on top of the ocean.
You know, there are swimming pools in other places other than boats.
But they're not on top of the ocean.
But okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I could swim in the ocean if I want to.
You can't look off the side of the boat and say, "Look, there's a whale."
Anyways, what we should do, I forget where we're going with this. Oh, yes. So Jim, my roommate junior year, I can't find him anywhere online, because let me tell you, if ever there were a person from my past that would be really interesting to bring on this show, there's the guy. Because of course, what any career teacher wants to do is come on a radio show and talk about their drug-fueled past, because that's I don't think that interview's going to happen. I hope he's working as a teacher. I hope he's although then again, it's really weird to go to college with someone that is really serious about wanting to be a teacher, and on the weekend to observe him with his friends debating which set of pills he should take that evening.
Wait, was Jim the one that sat on the floor with ravioli?
No, that was Mike Mann.
Okay, never mind.
Jim was the one who, if ever I was in a situation where, gun to my head, you have to let someone give you a ride home, drive you home drunk, but it could be any person you choose. Jim from college is my man, because that guy could play drunken Mario Kart better than any one of us.
Oh.
So if ever there was a guy that if no one should drive drunk, but if I had to get in a car with someone driving drunk, it would be Jim.
Gators, can any drunk person drive on the Rainbow Road? Is that possible?
Jim can.
Because it's hard to do that. So it was hard to do that with sight. I can't do it without sight. I can't do it without sight, and I couldn't do it drunk. I guarantee you.
Oh, I can't do it drunk either, as was proven many drunk nights. But now Sparky Toaster writes in, Johnny has a problem being on a ship, but will get inside a tube packed in like sardines for hours with the shame German vet. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, my problems with a cruise was before COVID. It's really not about the COVID. Now Sparky personally doesn't do either. Yeah, I don't know.
What, COVID or ships?
Right, or planes.
Okay.
Ships or planes.
Oh.
So the first day I meet Jim, we're kind of going over, like I got there before him. No, he got there before me. So, he had set up the TV, set up the bunk beds. He's like, yeah, which bunk do you want? Whatever. I've been sleeping on the bottom one. I'm like, I can climb up, whatever. And, set up my computer. We talk about different things. Set up the stereo. He's playing his Nine Inch Nails music through it, seeing how my stereo sounds. It goes, yeah, this is pretty good. And then he said, what should we use for a sign on the marker board on the door to signal to the other one that we're masturbating? Which is like, it's usually, and I'm like, and I make an awkward pause. He's like, dude, it's going to happen, right? And I think we agreed on like a pound sign in the corner or something like that.
Okay.
And somehow we ended up not holding to that, because the thing was I was concerned about us having a code to signal to the other one that we're masturbating, because if other people figure it out, then every time someone walks by our door and sees a little pound sign in the corner, they're going to figure out like, oh dude, it's the masturbating bat signal. So I'm just like, dude, leave the door locked. The time it takes to unlock the door should give us enough time to pull up trow. Now Sparky is corn fused.
Okay.
What? No, we put a marker board on the door. And so Jim was suggesting that if one of us is in the room masturbating, we should have
only one of you.
sign.
I thought you wanted to let other people know that you were doing it.
It was
in the room.
It was one of us to so that way if Jim goes to class.
Okay.
If Jim goes to class and I don't know when he's coming back and I want to rub one out, I could just kind of let him know what's going on behind the door without him having to open up the door. And so that was the pound sign in the bottom corner.
Can you just use the shared bathroom?
What's that?
Can't you just use the bathroom?
Well, I'm not going to bring my computer into the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
I got to have my porn, man.
Oh, okay. I see.
Porn sites.
Yeah, that clears it up. Yep.
So Sparky's but I really didn't want to like put a bat signal on there, because how hard would it be for people to figure out what that means? Although I gotta tell you, college, #college. One time, I think it was sophomore year, I was coming to my room and I walked past a room and there was a note written on the marker board from one roommate to the other roommate, and it was something like, "Hey Steve, Me and Jane went back to her room to go have sex. We'll meet you at dinner at the dining hall.
Oh.
And I was like, good for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. At least you put it out there. It doesn't matter if everybody
Right
knows.
out there in the hallway for all to see. We went over there. We're going to go have some sex. We'll meet you later. That's college.
It's fine.
You're at college when you see, that's. I think that's the only place you'd ever see a marker board so blunt and forward like that about all the sex they're having over in someone else's room. But yeah, I did not get to leave the "I'm having sex" message. Only the "I'm having fun with myself." That was all I got.
Oh, I hope you really didn't write that one out. That would have been
that one I didn't.
No.
Like I said, I didn't even want to put the vague signal on there. Of course, we really should have, because I was like, dude, just lock the door, whatever. At the time it takes to turn the key.
Are you sure? Do you have time to do that? They're unlocking it. You're like, oh crap.
Well, let me tell you. One day, Gators goes to class. And the teacher had called someone to put a note on the door that the teacher could not get to school because it was snowy, and the teacher didn't want to drive in the snow. So I went back to the room just after leaving class while Jim thought that I was going to be gone for at least the next hour. And I opened the door and I'm like, oh, God, teacher canceled the class. I was so worried about it. And I turn and I look and there's trowel down on his ankles. And I'm like, okay, I will see you later. Turned around, walked out, closed the door. And that was
time to put my head in the snow because
mind you, I was the only one in our room with a computer. So he was
Did you wash your keyboard after you finished this?
I had to make sure to sanitize the keyboard regularly.
Yeah, I hope you had some Lysol and some wet wipes and not a black light.
I never thought to check the browsing history, but maybe he was finding better stuff than me. I don't know. But we just shared a computer. That was that. It was.
Yeah.
Although one of my roommates. Well, this is awkward because
he caught his roommate. Jim.
In sophomore year, I had two roommates, LeVar and Mike. And LeVar had his own computer and Mike didn't. And Mike would sometimes share one of our computers. And one day I go and I'm like typing in the browser and I go www.b and it auto-completes boyfun.com. Okay. And I'm like, that sounds like it. I hit enter, and yes, it now it doesn't mean boy as in little. It doesn't mean boy as in little boys. It means boys as in male. But it was and it was something I shouldn't have cared about. And I was like, dude, watching gay porn on my computer. That's going to my browsing history. And so I actually asked him about it, and he completely denied it. And I'm like, look, I don't care what you want to look at, but maybe not my computer. But I was probably an ass to even say that. So I
Gators, this is their problem.
Yeah.
You left the keyboard in the room. You should take the keyboard with you when you went to class. Well,
here's the thing. Me and Mike had an understanding that he could use my computer if he wanted to use my computer.
Oh.
That was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. And really I shouldn't have had a problem with him looking at gay porn on it. But he denied it vehemently. And it's like, dude, someone did, and LeVar's got his own computer. I mean, come on. But then again, maybe it's in bad taste to force someone to out themselves, even if their own actions outed themselves. So maybe I should have left that more. I left it alone after that conversation, but maybe I should have even not. I don't know. Now, Sparky Toaster wants to know where I was going to with www.b. www.bestiality.com. No, kidding. I don't know where I was going. I don't remember how. But I do remember at one point some documents were sent that I needed to. And Sparky, we will get to the topic. Some documents came to me in the mail because the school I was classified with a learning disability because ADHD counts as learning disability, and I ran to I played it as a trump card to get out of a failed exam. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta throw everything you can at it.
I used not being able to see to get out of football in high school. Does that count?
Well, here's what happened. I had a class, and I forget which class it was. It was either it was either American Studies or Ethics, because I had the same teacher for both of those classes.
That's irony. Using a disability to get out of ethics. That right there. Clap, Gators. Clap.
Okay.
Just clap right there.
Here's the thing. I actually used this trick in American Studies, but then the next semester I had the same teacher for ethics.
Oh my God.
So at least there's a degree of separation here. No, here's how it went down. Here's how it went down, and you could all decide. We're going to tell the story, and then we're going to open the show. I promise. But I need you and Sparky and whoever else is listening can weigh in on how ethical or unethical this was. So I was classified as ADHD, which counts as a learning disability, which and this is the type of thing that my parents and therapists and people would say to me, you should utilize these things to benefit you. You qualify for certain advantages. Now, the certain advantages were things like, not advantages, certain accommodations, like extended time on exams, or being given exams orally rather than written, or things like that. Like, because ADHD is a learning disability and you're classified as that, you're eligible for certain accommodations if you need them.
Yeah.
So I went to the American. I had this exam in American Studies. I was not doing good in the class. It was like a history type of class about American history with myth versus reality and things like that. And so I go to take the exam, and I struggled through it, and I do it, and I turn it in, and I'm like, oh God, I hope maybe a C. Hopefully a D, maybe a D, maybe a C. If I get it back with a big old fat F on it, and the problem is that I didn't turn the page over, and I didn't see there was anything on the other side.
Oh,
of the page.
No! You know what? Instructors will come up to you after they give you an F or something. They're like, "Yeah, by the way, you forgot the second page." At my college, we will say, "Listen, did you not see the second page?" And usually the student will be like, "Oh."
So I went to the teacher and I said,
"Yeah,
I didn't see," and there was one question on the other page. I completely missed a question, which was like, and it was one of those types of tests that were not that many questions, because it was a lot of essay type questions in a blue. It was a blue book exam. They gave you a blue book to fill out these.
I hate blue books.
Yeah, oh God.
Wait, they gave you the blue book? We had to buy ours.
No, they gave us a blue book.
Wow.
So because I didn't answer the last question, that didn't count. I didn't get any of those points, and that left, and I didn't do good enough on the others to even get a D. So I got a big old. So I went and I saw the teacher. I said, "Look, I had no idea that this question was on the other side of the page. I completely missed it. Could you allow me a makeup?" He's like, "Well, you've already seen the question. I can't do that. It wouldn't be fair. The rest of the people in class saw it. That's your mistake." And I'm like, and I'm sorry for that, but is there anything I could do for partial credit? Could you give me an equivalent question that's different but equivalent, and let me make up this question I missed? And he's like, "No, we can't. I can't do that. This is college. This ain't high school." I don't think he said those exact words, but that was the sentiment of it. Mm-hmm. And so I mulled it over and I thought about it. And at some point, the thought occurred to me that part of the reason why I didn't even think to turn the page over was because I pretty much was out of time in the allotted time period by the time I answered the last question on page 1. And so page 1 took the amount of time that I expected that exam to take. I wouldn't have had time to finish the last question. Even if I turn over the page, I'd be like, shit, there's 2 minutes left on here. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, all those times people told me, well, as a classified student in ADHD, you are entitled to extended time on exams.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to him and I said, look, I'm classified as ADHD. This entitles me to extended times on exams. Part of the reason I didn't know there was a second side was because I ran out of time on the first side of the page. I only had like 2 or 3 minutes left. I didn't think there was any more of the page. I would have needed extended time to finish this test. I think you should give me an equivalent question. Let me answer that question with an extended time and make that up to answer the exam. And that got him in silence for a while. And he's like, I really don't like the way you're laying this out like a trump card on me.
Yeah. He was wise to you.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I got to do anything I can to pass this class. You know, like, yeah, this is kind of a dick move, but my grades are a bit more important than not being a dick right now. So he basically said, well, if I do this for you, you need to check in with the learning disability office and touch base with them.
Yep.
And I, like, I will do this for you, but you need to take this serious.
They will let you take your test over there instead of the room. That's the thing. Yeah. Believe me, I've dealt with DSRC many times, and students have to go over there and back. So, yeah, you just talk to DSRC, take your crap over there, and do it.
Now, Sparky writes in, if you knew that question was there, would you have adjusted your time on the first page? And that's a fair question, and, that would be a hair-splitting conversation. But I basically, when I laid out, the teacher agreed to it, is that. And Sparky writes in this D passing. Yeah, D equals diploma. So I think I only brought it up to a D with the equivalent question, because it was another one of these questions. I'm like, oh God, what do I, it was, but as part of the point of that story was that part of that was I checked in with the learning disability office, and they're like, well, we don't have your report on file. Could you get your parents to mail you a copy so you could, we could update your file with that. So my parents mailed it to me, and I found it really interesting to read a story all about my background and history and all these things that they found when they classified me and did that study. So I was reading it, and I was kind of reading it out loud in the room with LeVar and Mike, because there were some parts that were kind of funny that I didn't mind sharing. And except that the problem with reading something like that out loud and not knowing what's coming up next, you don't realize you've hit the embarrassing part until after you said it out loud. Like the point that it made some kind of comment that apparently I was a little bit slow in my potty training when I was a kid. I don't recall this. I thought I trained just fine and right on schedule. But
as long as you make it in the hole, that's all that matters.
It said that my, development as a child was fairly normal, except a little bit of slowness in the potty training.
It's fine. We all develop potty training different times.
I will say the one thing I remember about that is what really helped greatly was having parents agree to keep me company because I was bored sitting on the toilet, and I think that's all it was. I was just lonely.
Did you just bring toys in there or anything?
I did try fishing out of the toilet once with a toy.
No, don't do that. No. You don't want to know what you catch down there.
Now, Sparky says he thinks he needs a C in tech school to pass. Now, there may be certain classes that have certain requirements for certain majors, but this was a gen ed class. All I needed was at least a D for it. And I got that D or maybe a C. I don't know what I got for the final of that class, because there was also papers in that class. I forget. My grades were not great. They were good enough. They really were. College was a struggle. My grades were good enough to get a diploma.
Yeah, that's what GE stands for. Good enough.
Good enough. But so I'm reading this report out loud, and then at some point I read I get to a point where it comments on, as I developed socially or developed, that my interests were a bit out of step from other interests of my peers, such as baking, collecting crayons, and needlepoint. And LeVar and Mike immediately burst out laughing, and I said, why is collecting crayons really that funny? And they said, no, that's not what we're laughing at. We're laughing at the needlepoint. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? And I left to go use the bathroom. I came back. They brought my browser up to like some needlepoint website that they left on the screen for me.
You're like, oh, I could do that.
I actually did. Next break, I went home. I brought back some needlepoint with me to take up needlepoint again, because I was like, yeah, man, I missed that.
Wait, there wasn't like a class
my tissue
you take on
box.
needlepoint? You couldn't do a class on needlepoint?
They didn't have a
Past
class on
that.
needlepoint. It'd be nice if they would let me take that as a history class. But no, the easiest. I had to take at least one history class for my gen eds, and American Studies was it, which was kind of like clearly this guy was a former hippie, and yet he had never heard of the song Inagata Davida.
Really?
Really? At some point he brought in a recording example of his band that he had when he was younger, him and his friends, and it was kind of folky, hippie type of music about it was something along the lines of like the flowers dying and things like that, which clearly inspired by Where Have All the Flowers Gone, but it was their own original based on that same type of theme. And at some point, I think I requested it, Agata Davida, and he's like, "Wait, I don't think I know that one. What was that?" And I'm like, "Serious? You don't know Agata Davida?" And I actually teased him about that in the ethics class. Like at some point, I because me, I love going.
How
back
did you do in that class, Gators?
Well enough. Well, Well, that's the type of thing where he start posing questions, and he starts with, what if someone has a car ready to go in the parking lot that will take you to Disney World, all expenses paid, but all you gotta do is kill a monkey and rip off its tail. Would you do it? Wait!
You don't have to kill a monkey to rip off its tail.
Well, but to get the tickets, you had to kill the monkey and rip off its tail.
Can we put the monkey? Do we have to have the monkey in the car on the way to Disney?
I don't think that was required. I think you just had to kill the monkey before you get the trip to Disney World. And of course, no one took the bait. No one would kill the monkey. But then eventually it gets down to, well, would you swat a fly? And what's the difference between the fly and the monkey? And these are questions that are hard to answer because
flies live a lot less. They'll die the next day anyway.
It's like,
so.
Dude, I'll kill the fly for free.
I mean, technically, they both have poo involved with them because monkeys will throw their poo and flies like poo. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
So there was a lot of that type of bullshit conversation that was circular and going.
I would have way too much fun in that class because I'd be asking extra questions. I'd get in trouble.
There was some fun to have in that class, but at the end of the day, you had to really get serious about it, and it requires some real critical thinking and making decisions about those critical thinkings. And sometimes they're not comfortable decisions to make. They're things that I'd rather keep vague because I really don't know. I know I wouldn't kill a monkey to go to Disney World. I know I'd swat a fly to go to Disney World. But what's the difference? I'm not prepared to answer that.
What if with all expenses paid, they pay for all the beer in the beer around the world for you?
Yes to the fly, no to the monkey. I ain't killing the monkey.
Well, you can bring the monkey with you. Well, if the monkey wants to go to Disney World, can we get tickets to it?
Anyways, I did promise that we were going to open the show.
Oh, wow.
So, once again, it's time for everyone's favorite internet radio show.
Insert title here.
This show that changes names so frequently, we put a placeholder here. I'm here. Mars is here.
I'm here.
Brian is somewhere between here and Santa Maria or Santa Maria. Wasn't that the ship?
Yeah, it's where the Nina, the Pinta, the Nina, the Pinta beads, and
he's taking the Nina and the Pinta, and he's sailing them over to Santa Maria to help his sister-in-law move back into her house. And but he did suggest that if we want to try to give him a phone call, we could check in.
Are we gonna have a Brian live on location?
We might. I don't know. He said he's getting a late start, so I don't know if he's on the road or if he's checking in or if he's still packing. So we may have to take a look here for Brian's. Here we go. Brian Blue's phone. So we'll just go ahead and give that a call, and we'll see what Brian's up to, because we're going to interrupt him.
Oh, there you go. Bing, bing.
Bing, bing. Yeah.
They've never changed that, you notice.
Yeah, I know.
Brian Wish is there and see he's in Singapore.
Hello, Chicago.
Hello.
Chicago, I'm not there.
Well, they split the difference because I'm on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast, and so if you average that out, we're live from Chicago, right?
Right. Although, isn't the middle someplace in Iowa?
Yeah, but Chicago's the middle that counts.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. I agree with that. Hey, my dad grew up in Chicago.
Oh, there you go. So now, speaking of Chicago, where are you right now?
Santa Maria.
Okay, so you're not on the road. You are at your destination.
Correct.
Correct. Now, are you staying in the flooded out house? Is that where you're staying?
Oh no. We're in a hotel.
Okay. All right. Well, Best Western, Holiday Inn.
Maybe it's a Red
Motel
Roof Inn.
6.
Fairfield Inn.
Fairfield Inn. Okay. How are the towels?
How was the what?
The towels.
Oh, and is this
Cows?
place good? Is this place good enough to give you one of the shower caps?
Shower. Yeah. Do you get
We're not that fancy.
Yeah.
no shower cap?
Dang.
Well, maybe there is. I don't know.
He's looking.
He's looking.
We-
There's nothing wrong with looking for shower caps. You just want to see.
if you find a shower cap, you got to put it on and tweet a picture.
Or blow it up like a balloon, one of the two.
Either way, you got to tweet a picture.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good idea.
I'm filled with good ideas. See.
So what gets me is okay. So we're putting power. Here's my job. I'm putting power strips in like the major rooms that need them.
Power strips.
Because when the furniture comes, you don't want to hide the outlets, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, most of the plugs here are two-prong jacks. I mean, the jacks are two-prong. And, of course, every power strip nowadays has 3.
Right.
So we're using those stupid adapters.
So you're lifting the ground on all your power strips.
Yeah, no grounds for you.
That's safe.
Yeah. And, oh, yeah, there's a metal tab in it.
Yeah, you're supposed to connect that to ground, but no one ever
It
does.
should. Does anybody ever do that?
I think someone somewhere once did that.
I haven't encountered a two-prong in quite a while, Brian.
I will say I was using those adapters in my first apartment in Oakland. They had the two-prong outlets.
How's the power there?
Did you ever get electrocuted?
No. I escaped there unscathed. But I did have a bunch of those adapters everywhere, and
I did have one of the relatives say, "Oh, that'll be dangerous."
Well, the ground.
We could use the ground thing, although is the screw long enough for the plate to get, to include that? I don't know.
Well,
I haven't tried.
It's not. Keep in mind, many generations of people grew up with two-prong outlets in their homes. Ground adds an extra layer of protection if something goes wrong. Now, as long as nothing goes wrong and you don't do nothing stupid, I guess the problem is that if you have an electronic device that has a metal casing and something shorts out to the metal casing.
Yeah, sorry, I just threw the phone on the floor.
Ah. Well, I guess.
You've got bad luck. This house got flooded twice. This is the second time this thing has flooded in 10 years.
So the house has bad luck. Well, Brian, this is easy. You go to Lowe's, you get a big spool of Romex wire, and you rewire the house.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm not here that long.
Well, yeah, this will take multiple trips, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, right.
Says the person with holes in his wall.
Yeah. Hey!
Maybe
my holes are patched.
That high school kid that rewired your place.
No. The high school kid didn't rewire my place. The high school kid did a few touch-up jobs and wired one of the things wrong. But anyways, that's I rewired this place. And
yeah, oh, I know. Originally, yeah. It was him.
Well, he didn't rewire it
In
because
fact, I told this electrician that, and he goes, "Yeah, that's common."
what
Oh,
that the student wires a plug backwards, or that a homeowner rewires their house when they find out how much it cost.
Well, I mean, all of the above. But also, he said, the way your knob and tube is set up,
Mm-hmm.
that because it was buried. He says, "Yeah, that's common too."
Yeah. No, I saw why. I don't think there was anything nefarious. I think someone decided to put insulation in the attic because that's common. I think they left the wires as it was because that's common. So it's just natural that it would get buried like that. And even though you're really not supposed to put insulation over knob and tube wiring, because then...
Well, that's okay. The problem is that they buried it. That's
Right.
the thing that's wrong.
Well,
There should have been a junction box.
Well, the whole second floor was just wired with one run around the whole attic. There was no need for a junction box in the attic the way it was originally wired, and that's how it was done back then.
Sure, but when the guy, shall we say, plugged modern Romex to the knob and tube, that connection should have been a junction box.
Well, that connection was technically in a box. It was in the one outlet in this room at the time. Basically, the outlet had, two sets of screws on it because you can run, kind of a series. So one set of screws in that outlet was wired to Romex. The other end was wired to the knob and tube. And that tied it into the attic, which then ran it around the rest of the second floor at that point.
Yeah, oh, okay, I get it.
So that was why there was no junction box in the attic, because it was joined in my outlet. So that outlet actually was grounded, but two of the rooms had 3-prong outlets that were not really grounded.
Yeah. Oh, so this other problem that we uncovered, get this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the guy that came to do the correction to this water problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big name that everybody's heard of.
Okay.
And there were a number of problems that he blamed on the subcontractor. The movers really sucked. In fact, I was going to take a picture of the box. The bottom of the box had instructions to Mr. Packer.
Mr. Packer.
The person that's going to pack the box.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed you how to fold a box. Now, this is this is a moving company that did this box up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do your people have any freaking experience that they need to go to those instructions? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A guy with instructions would have put together thousands of boxes.
I'm thinking you only need instructions for the first box. I mean, most boxes are pretty self-explanatory. Then again, you and I are people that worked for box companies. So
you come in with a crew, if there's a brand new guy, he's shown how to put together the box. He's not on his own to put together a box. You know what I'm saying? But these are printed on all of their boxes.
Well, I mean, I
mean, print one, print all, right? But
yeah. Well, you never know who's going to get their hands on this box, right? Are these boxes that complicated that they require instructions?
What?
How complicated are these boxes that they require instructions even for the first one, though?
These are standard moving boxes.
So it's basically two flaps, tape, flip over, and fill, right?
Yeah.
Then again, you and I are technically box experts, so...
Oh, hey, this is perfect. I will take a picture and send it on to Twitter.
You found the shower cap?
Oh, good.
No. Box instructions.
Oh, okay. Well, now what's the status on the shower cap, though?
Well, I'm not at the hotel.
Oh, you're not? You're at the house right now.
I'm at the house.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We thought you were at the hotel.
Okay. The two pictures because
So where your excuse to slack off on your power strip job right now is what's going on.
No, wait, Brian, are you going to fill up both of them with two different power strips or just one power strip per outlet?
one power strip per outlet. One room actually this is great. So, you got your computer room / TV room, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So one wall has TV. One wall has one outlet. The opposite wall has one outlet. It's the computer connection. I mean the cable connection in the middle between those two.
Mm.
What?
So you go, well, I'm just going to put the power strip on both opposite walls because there's no freaking power to the wall that will really need it.
Now it's funny that your safety dilemma is whether or not you should connect the ground connection on your 3 to 2 prong adapters, when really the issue is that you have a house that has wiring that's old enough to be 2 prong, and you're plugging in 2 power strips to this. You're going to overload that circuit, overheat it, and burn down the house. That's what's going to happen.
Well,
the ground's not your problem.
Gators, think of it this way. The house will be dry then.
I don't know if the house owners are going to appreciate this humor.
She's not here. Fortunately,
See, we can get by with these. They're not going to
Okay.
listen to the show. It's fine.
Okay, all right. So she won't see the house burn down. That's
No,
good. That's good.
well, no, she won't see the problem. Right?
She'll see the remains, but she'll be like,
she'll-
well.
I think when you drive up to a house and it's charred, you see a problem. So,
Yeah,
so in
I
a
guess
sense,
I'm
she's
moving-
gonna.
I guess I'm moving back to the hotel, aren't I?
One of those fancy ones with shower caps. All right. Well, I mean, they had all this stuff plugged in. Now, was the electric inspected for water damage after the flooding? Because what condition is this wiring in?
Well, not the wires that were the problem. The problem was the plumbing.
Right, but the place was flooded, right?
Yeah.
So those wires have been submerged.
Probably not. It's only flooded at the lowest level. So drywall all around the first level. There's only one level. Drywall at the lower part of the walls were all replaced.
But
it didn't get as high as an outlet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. That's
No problem there, but we will get it inspected for damage to the plumbing.
But where's
from potential rat infestation? Because there has been infestation.
Where's the breaker box?
At the breaker box? I don't know where it is.
Well, because does this house have a basement?
No.
Okay. Right, it's California.
It's probably a garage.
Because my thought was, even though the water didn't get up to the outlets, how do you know what direction those wires are running, or where they're going? And I'm thinking about wires going down, and going into a basement, but they're not.
Probably going to a garage or something.
Probably going to a garage, but if the garage is at a lower level to the rest of the house.
Yeah, but the garage didn't get water.
Right, but the point is Seaside Heights got flooded in that big Hurricane Sandy, and they cleaned up and they opened up the next year, and the whole place burned down because no one inspected the electric enough from all the flood damage. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that was and a boardwalk's got a lot of tinder, so not the fun kind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you might want to be sure what's going on with the wiring in that house after it flooded.
Well, I'll look at it. It's a good idea. We are going to get the pipes inspected because there have been rats. You know, and there's plumbing that goes into the attic, and I suspect that's where the where the wires are in the attic.
In the attic, and then.
But at least we are going to get the plumbing inspected eventually. Although we have this other plumbing problem that the main guys involved here said, "Oh, we have nothing to do with that," and that is the sink and toilet and bathtub drain is all blocked up. So they're not going to do anything about that. It's up to us to call the plumber, which I did. Now, I did have a name of a plumber, but when I called, they said, "Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be available for a while, but I have this other guy that will do backup work." If you were a plumber, what name would you use?
What name? What name would I use for a plumber? Well, plumber itself is a name. I once had a boss whose last name was Plumber.
A person's name. Let me guess. Your assistant would be Luigi.
Okay, Mario.
You win.
Okay, all right.
So the guy I called was and I talked to Mario, but he is a solo guy. I really wanted to say, why don't you hire some guy named Luigi? He would be perfect.
And they just hang right up on you, Brian, right there.
Which is why I didn't say that. He probably says, I get that shit all the time.
Yeah. But now Brian did tweet the box instructions, which we are sharing on the screen right now, and it shows basically how to open the box and fold the flaps and tape them. So I mean, it looks pretty self-explanatory to you and me, but there's got to be a reason for this, The
company name is. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The Moving Experience. Okay, so my experience with these guys is bad because they apparently have no actual experience in moving people.
Well, even a bad experience is still a moving experience. So they are not incorrect.
Unfortunately, you expect that name to mean them.
Yeah.
And that's not applying to them. That's my point. Oh, incidentally, we have come across some, in some of these boxes that probably were ours already. Now, some of the boxes were marked Tharco. Some of the boxes were marked Thacker.
Oh, Tharco and Thacker.
San Lorenzo, Auburn, and of course it was Southern California that was the Thacker.
Right.
And also a PCA box.
For good measure. Now, Sparky points out that screwing that connection to the plate screw is useless because there is no ground on a 2-wire outlet. So yeah, you're not gaining anything by attaching it to the plate screw. You would basically need to.
He knows that because his name is Sparky Toaster.
Right. He knows how to safely plug in a Sparky toaster. He knows how to get a proper ground on that so that when that toaster starts sparking, it doesn't electrocute you. It just burns down the house.
Right.
We can't help you with the fire hazards. We could only help you with the electrical hazards.
Right.
Although, as we pointed out, the electrical hazards very well could be fire hazards. But no, I guess if you got a pipe that goes to the ground, you could tape it to the pipe or attach a wire to the pipe. I don't know. Isn't that
as well as the ground wire that comes from the outlet to that pipe?
Right. If you can get a wire from a pipe to some place that you can then tie into those tabs on those adapters, that would ground things.
The interesting thing, I'm staring at one of the outlets in the bedroom that actually has three-prong plugs.
Huh.
It's like this double.
Now, Sparky Toaster wants to know if someone gets a raise when they learn to assemble a box at this company.
Unfortunately, I didn't meet him, and I won't meet him because the people that are unpacking the box is a different outfit. Because some of the other crap that was going wrong, they kind of go, "Oh, we're not going to use these people again."
Now, Sparky Toaster also says, "Don't worry, those old screws in the fuses with the penny behind it will fix the issues."
That's what I did, was put a penny in the fuse box.
Yeah.
It worked fine.
Yeah,
Well, every time.
That's why we eliminate the. There's two reasons why we can't eliminate the penny, like all other countries have done. One, it's got Lincoln's face on it, and number two, what are we going to put in the fuse box?
Well, my mom in her bedroom used to have a every time she'd turn on the hairdryer and iron it at the same time, the fuse would break. And so one day I got tired of changing the fuse back there, so I went back there and stuck a penny in it, and it never broke again. My mom kept thanking me. What did you do? What did you do? And I'm like, something. And then when we moved, I pulled that penny out of that fuse, and the thing was blackened and charred. And I don't the inner part where I jammed the penny was blackened and charred. And I'm like, well, we won't look at this, and it's time to move. Bye.
Sir Bars, master electrician.
You know.
Yeah, so there's the solution. When there's a problem, you just fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of reminds me of that story that Dune was telling about that neighbor or that friend of his that had that circuit that was always tripping in his garage. Every time he tried to use his compressor, he kept returning the compressor to the hardware store, getting in arguments with them. Why are these things always tripping my circuit? And then one day he was raking the leaves, and the rake grazes over a buried extension cord that's going to the neighbor's house. And there was this exterior outlet on his back wall he didn't know about, and he follows the extension cord, and it was attached to a window air conditioning unit.
You know, I wonder did he hit it with accidentally hit it with a branch cutter, you know?
No, he raked it, but he accidentally pulled the air conditioning window unit out of the window from behind, yanking the cord.
well, that fixes that even better. Dang.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say replace the.
He was not happy, and the people whose air conditioning yanked out their window were in no position to complain about it.
Oh, I bet you his electricity bill went way down too.
They got a few years of free energy. Free energy is not a lie. It's just.
I just know if I see a cable go from my upstairs down to my outside outlet, there's going to be no more extension cord there. It will be cut in half. There's not. There's not going to be. I'm just going to go.
It's like, wow, I didn't know Venison lived in Kansas. That's
pretty much.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, although.
Venison was his neighbor?
What's that?
Venison was his neighbor?
Pretty much.
No, but Venison had an extension cord that the neighbor willingly helped him install. Oh. So that was an act of mercy there.
I thought he went by and just plugged it into their house.
No, he told me the neighbors helped him install it. They knew how it was. They knew it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Venison had full permission to use that.
It still is amusing that we would think of Venison in a time like that.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I did add a new Venison isolation recently. I think I played this on a Dune and Johnny show recently. Here's a new addition to the Venison soundboard.
Okay, do you have a scrotum ball opener?
Oh.
I don't know what I'm
going
to...
again.
Okay, do you have a scrotum ball opener?
Oh, wow.
Nobody wants that, Venison. Nobody wants that.
Okay, do you have a scrotum ball opener?
I think the context of that is I think they make as a souvenir item in some areas of Australia bottle openers that are made from kangaroo scrotum. And
Wow.
Of course.
That's some strong scrotum. I'm just saying.
And so after discussing this, I guess at some point he said, "Okay, do you have a scrotum ball opener?" Which was totally the wrong way to word that, and we all had a good
Hey,
laugh.
listen, unfortunately I got to jump off. Why don't you guys call me in like a half hour?
Okay, we'll check in a half hour, see if the place is still standing.
Yeah, and see if your outlet update is done.
Yeah. So
okay.
Good luck.
All right. Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, Gators, how would hot and cold handle this? Would they do the same thing?
They would rewire the place.
Oh.
They would show you how to put in a proper breakers. I mean, the question is, does that even have a modern breaker box? Although he did find some 3-prong outlets. So is the breaker box current, but some old circuits tied in? I mean, but yeah.
Or let me guess, they didn't have the right faceplate and thing, so they just plugged in 2 of them, and the ground does nothing.
That would be very weird if there was actually a ground wire in there and they just put 2-prong plugs. Although that'd be an easy problem to fix.
There you go. There you go.
And that would be real easy. You could fix that with a screwdriver over the weekend.
They're like, I broke this. I guess I
minutes.
should replace it. They only have these 3, so I just put the 3 in there and not plug in the last part.
That'd be weird if someone did that. But anyways, we do have a show topic this week.
Oh, we did? What?
Yeah. The show topic is, the show topic's too long. It abbreviated it on the thing. But the show topic is a quote that I had today, which was, oh darn, I'm trying to look for where Sparky typed it in because I can't read it over here. Could you reschedule you ... I think it was, could you reschedule your emergency, please? Which is, which was a question I was asking the CEO of the company I work for this morning, although I didn't really ask him that. Yeah, could you reschedule your computer emergency for tomorrow, please, is the show topic. So, here's the thing. Thank you, Sparky.
Yeah.
I usually start work at 9. And usually my coworker starts work at 7. So he works from 7 to 3, and I work from 9 to 5. So that way, anything that happens from 7 to 9, he has to cover. Anything that happens from 3 to 5, I have to cover. And we overlap in between, so we're basically both there working everything for most of the day. But the thing is people know my number and text me, and so I woke up this morning at 8 and I put on pants and I checked my emails.
Look at that.
And I had my annual physical scheduled for this morning, and this already started causing a problem. I scheduled my annual physical a year ago when I had my last annual physical. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Put it in the morning. It'll be fine because my coworker will cover the morning, and I'll just start a little late that day. I'll check the emails earlier in the morning, respond to a few things, run out to get my annual physical, get some blood drawn, run back here, be back in time for the morning meeting. And no one will ever know that I left for a doctor's appointment. And then last week, my boss is like, well, we got to make sure the building's ready for the office opening, because the office is officially opening next week. Okay. And we prepare. Now the office was going to officially open last summer, and my coworker and I went in multiple days and set up all the desks, made sure everything was set up, because we've hired a lot of people since we started working remotely. We switched a lot of people from desktops to laptops so we had to get all the desktops off the desks and docking stations, make sure all the desks of new hires have monitors on them, mice and keyboards. And we went around and we set up all these desks and got everything set up. And then, things started getting worse again, and the office opening got pushed back. So we've been, for the past year at least, been soft opened, where you could go in and use the office as you want to, but there's no requirement to be there. It's totally voluntary. So usually the office there's usually a few people around. Not many. There's a few regulars that like going into the office. The investment team and the finance team seem to like to go into the office. I often see people from those teams when I go in. I go in as I need to set things up. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, Monday's the only day I can go in next week. And I'm like, oh, sure, I'll go in Monday. And then Friday, I pull up my calendar and I see Monday, go into office. Monday, annual physical. Shit. So I said to my boss, hey, sorry, boss, I can't make it in Monday morning. I'll get in around noon. And he goes, hey, that's fine. Heck, you don't even have to go in. Like, he was going to go in and check things. I'm like, if you're going to go in and check things, I want to know what you find. I want to be there too. And not to mention, I had to get some cameras set up in some of the conference rooms, because the conference rooms are all being redone, but they're not all done yet. And so they bought this like USB all-in-one camera, microphone, speaker thing, and I set up one of the rooms, and they love it so much. They said, could we buy 2 more of those and set them up in 2 other conference rooms to kind of tie us over until the actual new conferencing equipment is put in and set up? And I'm like, sure, send them here. So I had these 2 cameras, and they're like, you're going to get those in there before the office opening, right? I'm like, yeah, of course I am. Well, the office opens next week, right? Like, yeah, I do. Shit. So
I got to get some Prime going on here. Come on, where's Amazon? Come on.
So I'm like, no problem. I go my annual physical in the morning, and get back here in time to catch the 10:40 train. I'll be in the office by noon. I'll have half a day to set up these cameras, see what things my boss finds around, set up some desks, and I got to go back in Thursday morning, because Thursday afternoon is this like company outing event that they're having close to the place I used to work. Be fun to hang out down. Yeah, hopefully I won't see Nordine. If I pass him on the road, I may.
Don't run anybody over. You're not allowed.
Fuck that asshole. But anyways,
oh my God.
Yeah, no, I hope I don't run into Nordine. But anyways, yeah. So I'm like, but I have someone that needs that the calendar isn't working on their iPad, and I couldn't help them remotely. And I'm like, when are you going to be in the office so I can actually put eyes on this thing and see what stupid filter you got turned on that's making your calendar not show up right? And she's like, well, I'll be in Thursday morning before that company event in the afternoon. Great. I'll see you Thursday morning. I got to go into the city anyways. So I'll just go into the office first before I get over to the event. And so that'll give me a chance to clean up anything. So the point is that 8 o'clock I check my emails. 8:30 I head over to the doctor's office. I check in. 9 o'clock I'm sitting down to wait to be called in. I pull up my phone. I see that I've received a text from the CEO of the company at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's fun to see the CEO sent you a text to your personal phone right? An hour ago. Yeah, I don't check texts. I don't check text, but the reason why he's texting me is because he can't get his laptop on the internet, and
that sounds familiar.
And he can't get Teams to work on his phone. Oh. So the only thing he has is text. Now, his executive assistant raised a ticket on his behalf, and my coworker was already working with him. But I didn't know that. So I sent him a text back. I'm like, what's happening when you try to do this? And then, of course, I feel my phone rumble when I'm in the middle of my appointment, breathing deep to hear my lungs. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to read that later. And so anyways, my coworker got on the phone with him, got him straightened out. And I'm like, okay, good. Crisis averted. I got home, called my coworker. He's like, yeah, I don't know. He was someplace remote where he doesn't have Wi-Fi, so he was using his phone's hotspot to connect his laptop to internet and trying to join these super important board meetings that he needed to get on, being a CEO doing CEO stuff. And I'm like, if you had important board meetings, why would you put yourself in a place where you don't have Wi-Fi? But I don't say that part. I keep that part in my head.
You use your inside voice for that one.
Yeah.
In the inside part, yes.
It's like okay, but I still didn't even talk to him directly because my coworkers straightened him out. My coworkers like, well, I got him connected. We tried it again and eventually let him connect. It was coming up black, but it came up blue, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing in Windows 10 that comes up black or blue. What the hell color coordination are you talking about? Half the time I don't know what my coworker is talking about with black and blue. I'm like, it shows up under the Wi-Fi. Well, he was looking under the mobile. I'm like, no, it'll show up as a Wi-Fi hotspot is where it will show up in your Windows 10. Now Sparky writes in, CEO is probably out on hole number 9 at the golf club.
Wow, probably. Here, Caddy, hold my laptop while I do this meeting.
The guy has always been very. In fact, he was still even today. All the pros he was having. Always a nice guy. Always appreciative. Have nothing bad to say about the guy. So I'm not going to complain about the CEO. I will say though that if I have really poor means to get on, I make sure I'm very close to good Wi-Fi and good internet. And now to be fair, he had a backup plan in place because when his laptop wouldn't connect, he tried to join the Teams meeting directly from his phone. But Teams wasn't working on his phone. So, okay, I'll give him that he had 2 ways that he tried to connect that both failed. But still, he put himself in a remote area when he had important calls.
You know what I would have done, Gators? I hate to say it, I would turn my phone to a hotspot and connected my phone with Wi-Fi and just said, there, done. Got it.
Well,
that's
what he was trying to do, and it wasn't working. The laptop was now my coworker got him connected, but and I'm like, great, fine. I'm gonna go catch the train and get into the city. I'm sitting on the train. I'm halfway into the city on the train. Text comes in from the CEO. Steve.
The other guy.
I kept trying. It's funny. This whole story I've been wanting to say Steve, and I keep stopping myself. But Steve's a nice guy. Yeah. He's my coworker, and he's retiring in the middle of July, and I'm really gonna miss him.
Yeah. Good luck. That means you're gonna have to do from 7 to 10, 7 to not 10, 7 to 5.
Hey, you know what? You know what that means? The reason why, the reason Steve works 7 to 3 and I work 9 to 5 is because Steve had the seniority and he set his shift 7 to 3. So I can set my hours 7 to 3.
Unless there's nobody working, then you're doing both shifts.
Well, right. Well, we have people that help us out, but
I hope they replace Steve. But you know what? He can never be replaced, though. That's the problem.
Yes, in fact, he wants to retire, but he doesn't want to completely stop. So he wants to stay on part time. Okay. And so they're going to let him stay on part-time while we look for a replacement, and also a little bit after we get the replacement to help the transition. But I think that's only going to be a few weeks past hiring someone. So yeah. And I've been told I will be involved in the interviewing process. And I love giving job interviews as much as I like going to job interviews.
They're not that bad.
Oh, I've told those stories.
It's okay, they're fine.
There are some really bad candidates.
Make sure you have your Switch with you and you're fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, so I sent Dune a message that automation's working, but the messenger program can't connect to the server, and Dune sent me a picture from the exit row seat.
Oh.
So,
wait, is he planning on exiting, or is it just like, yo, let me jump out the plane to help?
Dude, you don't have to fly out to the server to fix it, but I love the dedication.
Maybe he's good to get it. Damn.
All right, so anyways, Sparky Toaster writes in, he can work part-time from 3 to 5.
Yeah, there you go. Dude's on a plane.
Dude's on a plane. Yes. So anyways, I'm on the train, and CEO messages me, like the problem came back. And I'm like, I'm on my way into the office, but let me send Steve a text and see what he's like. I got an 11 o'clock call. it's 11:05 when he's sending me this text. So he's like, I need to be on this call now. So I send a text to Steve and say, could you call, boss guy up again? His thing stopped connecting. And he's like, okay, thanks, man. So, and I got my earbuds in. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to Dumb People Town. Dumb, 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 dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Great podcast. Highly recommend it. Dumb People Town. Population U.
I see.
And, yeah, you could be listening to it right now and laughing, but you're not. But that's okay. It was a great story about this bride that was arrested because her and the caterer laced all the food at the wedding with pot without telling the guests about it. And
so why did they get arrested?
Because the guests did not want their food laced with pot.
You know what? They only would have figured it out if someone told them.
Did
someone tell them?
They figured it out when they started feeling like they were on drugs after eating the food.
Maybe they're just filled with the party. Just saying.
I don't know. But anyways.
Oh, my God.
So I'm walking from the train station to the office.
Like I'm taking home leftovers, just a second, guys.
Well, no, the leftovers were taken as evidence, including a handful of lasagna.
Okay.
But that's how the article described it. Oh. Anyways, so I'm walking from the train station to the office, and Steve calls my phone. And I got the earbuds in, so I take the call. So I'm one of these crazy people talking to myself on earbuds. And it's like, dude, CEO couldn't get connected. I think we need to upgrade the VPN client. He's on the old version. We need to get him on the new version. I'm like, dude, we've gone through like 4 versions of this software. I don't even know which one old and which one new is. Is he on the .115 version? Yeah, he's on the .115. Okay. .115 is current production. .116 we're still testing. We've only pushed that out to IT computers. So no, he's current. We can put him on .116, but I don't think that's his problem. And he's like, well, I can't get him logged in I tried to get him logged in with the local admin password that I pulled out. But I'm like, okay, did he have him put // in front of the administrator username? It's like, no, I didn't do that. Well, that's why it didn't work. Never mind. I'm 5 minutes from the office. I'll call him. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So I get in the office. I call him. Basically, all I had him do was turn off and turn on the hotspot in his phone. And it was funny. He's like, okay, I've already done that several times, but I'll try that again. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I just want to be thorough here when we start everything. He's like, oh, well, why is it showing up now? I did that several times before, and now it shows up. And I'm like, okay, all right, hey, that's good. Let's see if it connects. No, it doesn't connect. Okay. I walk him through bringing up his saved wireless connections and forgetting that one.
Yeah.
And then, bam, reconnect it, put in the password, connect it right up. Didn't hear from him the rest of the day. But as you can see, what was frustrating to me was from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I was watching this emergency with the CEO unfold, and I could do nothing to help it. And my coworker seemed to just keep getting stuck. And then I get on the phone with them, and I have it solved in 5 minutes. Now, I've been on the reverse end of that many times. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not bagging on Steve. But I'm just saying, it was like, could you have rescheduled your emergency for tomorrow? I wasn't ready for an 8 o'clock emergency. I had appointments and traveling and trains and walking. As usual, that story was way more boring than I thought it was going to be.
No, it's IT. It's fine.
I don't know. Well, Mars, you do a lot. You basically do. You've talked some enough that I get the feeling you do support work yourself.
Oh yeah,
day-to-day work.
Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. The dumb stuff we see.
Yeah. Well, it's just how it goes. You got people. You have different. Yeah. It's different classes and different what people know. So.
No, Sparky, thank you. Sparky says it was interesting. I mean, but that's the type of shit. Just now, mind you, this one was not a dumb end user. This one was, I mean, this end user, he knew how to set up the hotspot on his phone. He's done this several times. He's used this and it's worked for him in the past. But for some reason today, it decided to just not connect and not do it. And, you know, yeah, he rebooted things. He turned things off and back on. But, you know, it's just weird that there's this like sixth sense and intuitiveness that you just got to have to get through those situations, because I mean, I feel like I do nothing. I basically told him, all right, try going in here, forgetting the network and joining it again from the start, which is basically a really fancy turning something off and back on.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, but it's like, what went wrong? Why didn't that work? Why did that have to be cleared out in the first fucking place? We never know because we cleared it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Of course, the thing is I know that he missed calls, and this was a big enough of an ordeal. I wonder if it is going to come back to us. Like, dude, how cool?
You'll have the same thing again. It'll do it again because it's done it once, so it'll happen again. At least now you know how to fix it easily. You know.
Right? No, I'm wondering if it's going to become a thing. Why was the CEO unable to make these calls, and what can we do to make sure that we can guarantee his uptime? And
lock him in the building where there's Wi-Fi.
Right. I'm going to have to say, look, this time the problem is that the thing is though, if I go to, hey, he took himself to a place without Wi-Fi when he had important meetings, but he took himself there with his phone, which was working, and is that using as a hotspot. So it kind of comes down to, why couldn't he rely on the mobile hotspot? And it's like, dude, that's out of my control. But then again, it's probably a company iPhone that he's on, so we own that too.
I mean, honestly, that's a good backup. I know a lot of people that use nothing but their phone for hotspot. For working. I know exactly. I know people that don't use Wi-Fi because it is security based, and their hotspot is way more secure than anybody else's Wi-Fi. And that is something, I mean, it's funny to say, but it's true. It's something that they should have a backup, or if not, you know, that should be their main set of connecting. I mean, Wi-Fi is way more stable. I'm not putting that past them, but in a lot of areas, a phone and a hotspot is the way to go. Now, is it worth buying him if you're going to be using that as a thing? Is it worth getting him a dedicated hotspot? That's the question.
I mean, that's the thing. Now, if my boss's boss comes back to me and says, what can we do to ensure this doesn't happen again?
I would say get him a dedicated hotspot for something like that, and not a phone-based. Get him like one of those things, not the rocket hubs. I haven't looked at those things in a long time, but like a general hotspot that's, you just turn it on and then you turn on your laptop and it connects. You know,
if he's going to go to places that require hotspot and Wi-Fi, then buy a dedicated hotspot, and that way he has his phone as a backup. He has two different
his phone
hotspots.
is convenient. His phone is convenient. You can't turn that on. You can't. Yeah, it's convenient. But if it's not going to be as stable and as managed, because the thing is with a dedicated hotspot, you're not having apps go in and out. You're not having things mess with it. You're not randomly, you know, the OS isn't randomly messing with hotspot settings and stuff. It's dedicated. So it's got to be more stable no matter what. But, you know, that's the question.
So that was fire drill number 1 today, which, you know, Gators fixed in 5 minutes after watching it unfold for 4 hours.
You know what did you didn't have a laptop with you when you get your physical, huh?
I showed up to the charred remains of the building and stomped out that last little bit of flame and said, there you go.
You go.
Well, he made his 12 o'clock meeting, because that was a thing. Like, I get on the phone with it. By the time I get on the phone with him, it's like, you know, 11:50. And I got a 12 o'clock call to be on. So it's like, I got 10 minutes to fix a problem that's been going on for the past 4 hours. No pressure.
I hate to say it. You might have a meeting, but the CEO kind of trumps a little bit. No, I meant the CEO had a 12 o'clock call. Yeah.
And you know, I had 10 minutes to fix his problem to get him on his call in time. No pressure, you know.
No pressure at all. None.
But I got him on his call in time. It's another one of those great calls that once I fix the problem, I immediately hear a Teams meeting come on in the background. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll let you join your call there rather than sit here on the call and have you ask me what happened and why did that happen.
Yeah.
And he's like,
we can
right.
email each other and talk about that later. It's fine.
Yeah. No, CEO's does not want to hang around and chit chat afterwards and figure out what happened. He just wants to get on with his day.
He wants to get off his day and do his stuff. Yeah, pretty much.
Now, Sparky pointing out I could have said that I peed on the last few flames and put them out.
Wow, that's dedication right there.
That would have been funnier. That would have been funnier. Especially if there was a jellyfish there.
You don't want to pee on the poor jellyfish.
No. You pee on the jellyfish sting is what you do.
What if it's a place you can't quite chew?
Hestia here wants treats. Of course.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just happy your kitty's there.
Yeah. She's a bastard. She only does things for food.
Well, I understand this, though.
Well, every now and then, Hestia will let me just pet her just for the joy of receiving pets, but never around times that she expects food. Because like sometimes after I give her treats and treats are done for the evening, she starts coming around and meowing at me, trying to see if I forgot I already gave her treats. But sometimes she'll come in here and look for pets. But she doesn't trust me to let me pet her here. She'll only trust me to pet her on the bed. So basically she comes in here so that I'll follow her to the bedroom. She jumps up on the bed. I lie down. She snuggles up next to me. I rub her belly and she purrs and I rub her belly. And then after a while she realizes, oh, wait, that's right. I'm fucking scared of everything and runs off when she's at her fill. And but sometimes if she can't get me to give her treats and I won't follow her down the stairs, then she'll come back and then I'll follow her and then she'll go over into the bedroom. I'll walk in the bedroom and then she runs for the stairs. Like, okay, I got you to follow me here now. Like she tries to trick me.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And Sparky wants to know, does Dune have his own emergency to go on? Yeah, Dune is in an emergency exit row. He has sent me pictures.
That's good. In case he has to jump, he's ready.
He's ready. He is ready.
I sit in the emergency exit row, and the stewardess or the flight attendants look at me and they go, "Now, do you know how to? Are you okay sitting here? Do you know how to get out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not dealing with anybody else. Something's going on with the plane. There's a door. I'm out. I have no problem with this." And they laugh and say, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "There's a door. I'm outside." Let
me tell you a story about Mai Fong, because Mai Fong, great person to work with once she mellowed out. We traveled to Southern California together once. We got on the same plane together, and so we were flying jet. What's the Southwest, where you line up
catafall.
Yeah. And I always did the whole thing of checking in as soon as possible to try to get in on the A group. And we got in like on the A group pretty early on. And so and we were pretty close to each other in the line. So we line up, we get on the plane, and I go for a lot of Southwest flights have this emergency exit row that has 2 seats and a gap next to the emergency exit. So I ran right for there and sat down there and said, "Here, Mai Fong, we'll sit here." And she's like, the exit row? I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine." And then the stewardess came over and said, "Are you?" And one of the things that they'll ask you in the exit row, "Are you okay opening this up with an exit?" Southwest would ask you, "Are you capable of lifting a certain number of pounds?" I think it was like 45 pounds. Like, can you lift 45 pounds?
Did you lift up Mai Fong and say yes? That would have been great.
No, I said yes. Mai Fong waffled. I don't know, 35 pounds? I don't. And so as the plane's filling up, we had to go find different seats because Mai Fong wouldn't sit in the emergency exit row.
But you had all that extra room.
Because she wasn't sure she could lift 45 pounds, so she didn't want to sit next to the emergency exit. I'm like, seriously?
Well, tell her. I'll bet you your purse weighs more than 45 pounds.
No, that's not my thong. My Fong, PH.
If your thong is 45 pounds, Gators, there's a problem.
Now, the first time when interviewing, early on, interviewing my first day of the job, I kept on trying to figure out why everyone kept on calling her by her first and last name. But no, my Fong is her first name. She has another last name.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's Asian. She's Vietnamese. Apparently she. Oh no, not apparently. I've actually had it on one of the things that she cooks really good Vietnamese food. Anyways, what was I talking about before we? The conference rooms. So the other thing I had to do once I got that fire put out was set up conference rooms with these USB camera things. They're actually pretty slick devices. You know, it's this camera with speakers on the side of it. The camera will automatically move itself, although it comes with a remote control to move it.
I know Anchor has one of those. Those are pretty nice.
It's creepy how it works when it first happens, because I set it up in the middle of a conference room. I'm sitting at a long table at a chair, and I turn it on to test it, and the camera looks for people, and it detects that there's only one person in the room, and so it automatically turns the camera to point at me and zooms in on me.
That's fine.
That's cool, but it's creepy for a camera to automatically focus in on me. It was a little unnerving, but if there was a room full of people, it would have stayed at a wide angle.
You should get one for home.
What's that?
You should get one for home.
Yeah, well, I could probably bring one of them home when we're done with them, because like I said, we bought all this equipment to redo the rooms, but we're still getting it installed. And so, anyways, I set one up in one of the rooms to kind of have this there's one conference room that has one of these giant Microsoft Surface wall hangers. I don't know if you ever.
Those things. Those things are so fun.
They're also so heavy.
Well, are they more than 45 pounds?
Oh, you get the drum fill for that one. No, you get the fruitcake pants for that one.
Let's stuff fruitcake down our pants.
No, let's give you the.
There you go.
Anyways, the point is that, you know, so my boss's boss is like, buy 2 more of them and set them up in this room and set it up in that room. That room being the Warren Wacker room. The Warren Wacker room is like the biggest conference room. Well, the biggest conference room that's just like a conference table room. There's also a room that like could fit the whole company for all company meetings, but that's the Ted Williams room. Yeah. But the Warren Wacker room's got this long table in it, and the problem is that the way I'm hooking up these cameras is we have a computer in the room that's tied to the TV on the wall, and so this is a USB device that needs a computer. And so first of all, the Warren Wacker room has the computer, the tower with the equipment, on the completely opposite end of the room as a TV is. So I can't put the camera here. I'd have to run a really long USB cord, or so that was. But the other problem is that the video equipment in the rack died a year ago. And they said, well, we're working on redoing the conference room, so we're not going to spend the money to have that equipment repaired when we're just going to replace it. So that room has been dead. And I've been telling everyone for over the past year, for more than a year now, that room is dead. We can't do anything in that room. Nothing is getting through to the screen. And they keep going, well, we'd really like to get that room up and running. It's like, yeah, well, the equipment's dead.
So what are you supposed to do? I mean, order equipment, get the room working or not?
So I set the camera up in the room next to it, which is not as nice and not as big, but at least we have 3 conference rooms with the camera. And then I go sign into the computer, and it took like 10 minutes to build my profile because the computer that is trapped behind the wall, behind the big ass TV on the wall, is going really slow. So now I got to try to fix that remotely, or shimmy behind the TV, try to get the computer out of there without removing it from the wall, and replace the computer.
Either that or the computer is downloading all the updates that took a year, that they has been turned on for a year.
Well, I'm gonna do some repairs remotely because I can connect through TeamViewer. But so today was not. I did not get nearly as much accomplished as I wanted to, and I still have no idea how many desks need to be set up. So, but we're gonna check back in with Brian since it is a half hour later.
Yeah, maybe Brian's setting up a Microsoft Surface on his wall.
It could be.
Dude, I want one of those for home.
Or maybe he's, rewiring the house. Maybe he's out.
Hello, Chicago.
Hello, Santa Maria.
Yeah.
So how goes the wiring?
Are you outside? Did the place blow up?
Well, Mr. Mars?
Yes.
Were you saying something?
Yes, I said, are you outside? Did the place blow up?
Oh no, I'm inside. In fact, I'm
Oh, okay.
staring at my wonderful job here. I haven't screwed in the things to see if to ground them.
What are
I
you
think I
gonna?
will anyway.
What are you gonna ground them to?
Well, the screw that's in the.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that screw's not grounded.
The center screws usually
How do you know
has
that?
a ground to it.
But not in the 2-prong
Yeah,
box
Oh.
because there's no ground in there.
Well, I could take out one of the
I mean, if you want
outlet
to.
and see if there is a wire that goes to the frame of the outlet,
You could.
and then assume that it's actually grounded.
Yeah. I recommend poking your fingers in there once you take the plate off of there, just to make sure everything feels all right.
I do that.
You know, when I was in high school, the game was you take a pair of forceps and stick it in the outlet, and usually it resulted in you removing it rapidly. Right?
Yeah. I think.
But one guy said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to leave it in there."
Oh, there's
I
some
don't think
sparks
that
and
ever
some
happened.
shooting
I probably
and
should ask him.
How did that go?
What?
How did that go? Did he do that? Were you there when he did that?
I don't believe it. I don't think he ever left one in there.
I
But I did see it happen originally, where it was removed rapidly
that'd make a loud pop.
as
wouldn't
he
it?
gets zapped.
Yeah, he would. But well, yeah, because I think someone did that with a pair of tweezers at the in high school. The science classrooms tended to be set up for lab work, even though you had more class than lab, but you would sometimes have lab. So that you generally you had like the tables that had
Absolutely.
sinks in them and outlets on them. And they're all these uncomfortable stools instead of actual chairs with backs on them, and it was kind of cool. But yeah, so all the tables had outlets on them, and you'd think that you could trust a bunch of high school students to sit at a table with an outlet on it, and
Absolutely.
you would be wrong. Because of course someone inevitably.
Just like you can trust any. So one guy tweeted, "Oh yeah, we should give guns to all children, and the problem would be solved." Yeah, because we can trust children with guns.
Yeah, the more people you arm, the more people there are to shoot other people. I mean, that's basically the argument to arm more people is suggesting that the solution is more gunfights. That's kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah. Or okay, so you arm the children. Hey, the positive side, if you can call it that, sarcastic turned on brightly. We'll figure out who the serial killers are.
Now, there was one gun suggestion that actually made some sense, and that was that Penn, in an episode of Bullshit, of Penn and Teller, suggested that all females should get free government-issued guns, something to carry in their purse, even make them pink if you want to. And that way, at the very least, even if half of the females opted out of it, criminals would never know which females are carrying the government-issued guns in their bags and which ones opted out of it, which would cut down on a lot of targeting women for violence. So I gotta tell you, I'm in favor of gun control. I'm not a fan of guns. I'd have no problem with that. A government program to issue pink guns to women to carry in their bags if they want to sign up for it.
What my dad had. So my dad had a carport, and at the back of the carport was a shed where he had tools and stuff like that, and other junk that would collect dust. And there was a big old poster on the wall that said, one of these, "We don't call 911," with the implication that they had a gun, right?
Right. Anyone found here at night will be found here in the morning.
That is I was at their house twice where they called 911. For a medical issue. A medical issue.
Well, you're gonna have to call 911 to get the person to the hospital that's got the bullet lodged in their head. I would think.
Or select a coroner.
Yeah.
Maybe what you do is it says, rather than calling 911, we will call the coroner directly.
I mean, what makes that story was that they put that sign up, and then you witnessed them twice at least call 911. That makes the story right there.
Right.
But
because the poster actually didn't qualify the reason for not calling 111. It just showed a picture of a gun.
Right.
I did like the little sticker he had on his front door that said "Protected by El Protecto."
Earlier
Who is that guy?
Now, earlier we were talking. I missed a question from Sparky Toaster. Earlier, I was telling a story about the time that I flew to Southern California with Mai Fong, and Sparky Toaster wants to know if she's single. No, she's got 2 kids.
Yes, 2.
They never had a third, right? 2 kids, yeah, and they grow up fast.
Well, and actually, her first was a miscarriage, so you could kind
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
which totally sucks.
Right.
But we didn't actually say her name, so that's okay.
That's okay. We didn't say her last name.
Right. And maybe we'll just edit that in post.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but. Now, have you found a ground wire in that outlet box there? Did you get that plate
I haven't
off?
opened it up yet.
Oh, well.
I'm on the phone with this guy from Chicago.
Well, go get a screwdriver.
I'll have to hunker down and go to my truck and get a screwdriver.
There we go. I mean, it's
probably a kneeling pad because I don't go onto the floor without a kneeling pad.
What do you kneel?
That's what I'll do.
So
that's what I'll do.
This is the guy that always travels with a kneeling pad because you just never know.
Well, yeah.
They,
well, I mean,
they also make good sled skaters.
I also, Brad, I toolbox.
Ah.
Oh.
You know, I need to get a toolbox because I always have tools strewn about the place, and I finally gathered up. But I actually cleaned my workbench in the basement so I could start working on the TV again.
So my current thing is forget the stupid traditional toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
Get one of these clear plastic bins.
Yeah.
I like the Hefty brand bins.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty sturdy and they won't just fall apart after a couple of years.
Well, you know, it's funny. I have
Target carries them.
So I was cleaning up like I said, I had this workbench, which is really the big corner desk I used to do the show from. I don't need it as a corner desk anymore, so I took it apart, put it in the basement, and then when I needed something to like work on projects on, I'm like, well, I got that old corner desk, so I set that up in the basement, and that's basically my workbench, and that works out fine. But you know, I built it up with clutter with tools and wiring things and all that stuff. So finally, past weekend, I'm like, I want to work on the TV again. Let me like clean the clutter off, and one other thing I got in the basement is Kristen's old dresser because the bottom drawer tracks fell off. So it wasn't like the drawers weren't working right anymore. And so we bought new dressers from IKEA, and I moved that thing in the basement because I didn't want to just get rid of it. And I throw stuff in the drawers now and then. So as I'm gathering things up off the workbench, I gathered the power tools, and I'm like, okay, let's put the power tools in a drawer in the dresser. So I open up the drawer of the dresser, I put the drill in, I put the saw, the oscillating tool, and I put them in there. And then anytime I find drill bits or attachments, I put them in that drawer, so they're all in that place. And at some point, the bottom of the drawer fell out. Because that drawer was designed to hold clothing, not power tools.
I could see where that was going. I really could see where that was going.
Well, I already from the start described this as a... Yeah.
Again?
Well, at the beginning, I already described this as a falling apart dresser with the whole tracks coming out of the drawers. So that's not a stretch to go to the bottom falls out.
So you get one of those really big toolboxes with the multiple drawers?
Yeah. I really should have seen that coming. I really should have. And so,
Yeah.
but at that point, I was too far gone. So I just kept throwing. Anytime I found more power tool parts, I just kept throwing them into the drawer with no bottom to fall into the leaning drawer underneath it, because that's a problem for another day. Today was desk clearing day. Tomorrow is cleaning up the power tools that collapsed into the drawer day. But I got a clean desk, and now the dilemma is what should I hook up for tunes down there? Because I've got the old AM FM 8-track receiver that I used to use at the Shore House to listen to tunes on the Shore House on the weekends. But then I also had this nice Magnavox quad receiver that I picked up at a flea market recently. I also have a more modern mini amp thing that I could tie into the stereo that's upstairs, which has the 8-track changer, so I could easily just load 5 tapes in and go in the basement and let them go back to back. But then again, it'd be nice to hook up one of the receivers down there and just bring a pile of tapes down and put them in myself one after the other. And then it's like, well, maybe I should hook up a spare turntable, but I can't put the turntable on the workbench, because if I'm hammering on the workbench, it's going to make the record jump. And it's like, well, I could nail some boards of woods off of the joists and the supporting the floor. Oh, you okay? And put a shelf in for the turntable.
Brian,
I
are
forgot that
you
there was
alive?
a shelf hanging from the wall.
Oh,
At a high level.
Oh.
And hang on, I am getting a shitload of texts from this one person.
and
Hang
then
on
it's
a
like,
second.
well, if I hook up the Magnavox, I could find another pair of speakers to hang from
Just
the.
get some power speakers in your Zoom.
Oh,
I could set up a quad setup at the workbench, and that'd be cool. Listen to some quad 8-tracks.
No powered speakers in a Zune.
I got that old Sony SACD player that's got analog outputs. I could hook that up to listen to, so I could have modern and vintage quad. So yeah, I'm going nuts with setting up the audio to listen to while working on this TV. Is basically the point of the story.
If you just had another bar, another one of your bars, you could bring it down in the basement.
There you go. Yeah,
Just get another bar down there.
Get another bar down there.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Brian, how's it going over there?
Okay, please
He's
show me the
Please
show me the ground wire.
touch the black wire.
don't touch the black wire.
Touch.
Unfortunately, things have been taped multiple times, so I can't see which color the wire is.
Touch them both.
Together.
Peters, why are you trying to kill your co-host? I don't understand this.
I just can't handle the interruptions, man.
Oh my god.
Lars, if you were making the suggestion, I'd say so. You want to be the new co-host?
I didn't say. I said don't kill your co-host.
Remember
Exactly.
remember dinosaurs?
Yeah, I do.
You remember we're gonna need a new Timmy.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
for
I
us
do,
it's-
because they blew up the last Timmy.
We're gonna need a new Brian.
Oh.
Now Sparky Toaster writes in, it is knob and tube. They are both black.
Oh no.
Yeah, they are. That's okay. It doesn't. You just touch both of them to be sure. No, you can touch one at a time, I think, as long as you're not grounded. I remember our physics teacher demonstrated this, that you could take a 3-prong plug, you can cut the end off and strip the 3 wires and separate them out, and you can plug the wire in, and I could touch this one by itself, and I'm not grounded, so that's fine, and I can let go. And I could touch this one, and that's fine. And I could touch this one because that's just ground, so of course I could touch. And then he put the wire down on the chair and walked away from it and forgot that he left it plugged in. And nothing happened. Nothing happened, but he came back and he saw that. He was like, whoa, oh, whoa. And unplugged is like, wow, good thing no one touched that.
Yeah, then Brian should be fine. There's
Kid
no
lying on the
ground in there.
floor.
It's okay.
Holy moly.
And that was the guy that always liked to say maybe. Physics with Dr. Day was a lot of, well, maybe we put a tension on that rope, and maybe you all with me? And we were not, because it was an 8 a.m. class in a classroom without windows, and we were all fast asleep. And maybe you could all try to stay awake now.
that'd be a fun class. I'd be awake
maybe
during
this would
that
be on the
class.
test.
I would have way too much fun with that class.
Hey, guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
Sparky Toaster wins. There is no ground wire.
Okay, Sparky, you win. You know what? We're gonna.
Holy shit.
Oh my!
In fact, I was looking at the box. Maybe the box has the ground. It has the metal box. Right.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
say maybe that's attached to that box, but
Well-
I don't even see one on the box.
Well, if the box itself is connected to like a metal conduit, and if that goes to something that's grounded, then the box. If you could ground the box somehow, that would ground the system. Wouldn't that?
So, I'm saying.
But you'd have to do some. Basically, you don't have a ground there, so
That's fine. Just don't touch
you-
it. It's fine.
You just do it old school.
Make sure there's no.
two-pronged.
You're in California. There's no lightning. It's fine.
Hey, guess what?
What?
There is no metal conduit.
Okay, now if you can get that metal conduit connected to something. Now, mind you, you have 3-prong outlets in the house, so there is ground in the house. So if you can ground that conduit, you would ground the box.
No, there is no conduit.
Yeah, that would be a pain in the butt.
There is
wouldn't
no
it?
conduit.
There is no ground wire.
Well, all right. So it's just knob and tube wiring coming into the box.
It doesn't. No. This looks like conventional insulated wire.
Okay.
And
All right.
it might be Romex, but I don't see it. There should have been the third wire, though, right?
Well, no. So is it just 2 separate wires with cloth insulation coming into the box, or what's?
Plastic insulation.
Plastic insulation. Okay, but it's coming in from what? Like what's outside of the box? Because maybe there's a metal conduit attached to the outside of the box.
No. It looks like a plastic covered like Romex.
Okay. But it's only 2 wires coming out of there.
Yep.
Well, the thing is you could always, from a box that has 3 prongs, you could connect a ground wire and feed it to the other outlets, and then put 3-prong outlets in there.
But there seems to be no ground wires.
No, but you said some of the outlets are 3-prong, though.
One.
Well, now is that outlet close to any other outlets?
And there is actually 3 outlets in the kitchen and a GFI.
Okay. So if there is ground somewhere, you can run some ground wires around the house and then swap them out for 3-prong outlets. And if you're going to fish ground wires, you can just buy new Romex wire and fish that instead, and pull out the old wires. But anyways, Sparky Toaster gets a "You Are the Win" for predicting the lack of ground in that box.
Wait, wasn't that the Game Boy on the Butthole song?
Yes, the
Okay.
Game Boy up my ass.
So what?
No, that's a Sloan joke. That goes back to the goddamn show with Sloan. He would play that tune for the win.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I get it.
Now,
It was
Sparky
like
writes in.
forthewin.com or something. And then he
Sparky
split up.
writes in. Brian would have to run a 3rd wire to every box. Yeah, that's all you'd have to do.
Oh.
Yeah, Sparky gets it.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's too bad that you don't have like the metal conduit there, because like that would have been an easy way to just ground the whole system. Because then all you have to do is hook up wires to the boxes and then wire in 3rd prongs. So of course you'd have to buy a bunch of outlets and connect them all. Either way, there's a lot of busy work that needs to be done in that house to update the electric. And only grounding things, leaving old wires in place
I know, Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny,
What's that?
you could come out here and punch the holes in it to do that.
I could punch the holes to do that. I couldn't run the wire though because I'm not licensed. I am not licensed to run wire in other people's houses, but I could cut the holes.
See, Gators, you know why that place is legal?
Exactly.
There's a GFI in the kitchen, and I bet you there's one in the bathroom.
Yeah, well, that's required even
Yep.
if you are grounded.
Yep,
Yeah, you got
exactly.
to have GFI in kitchen and bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything where water is, so that's why it makes it legal. Then you can have whatever you want anywhere else.
And you're still required to be a certain number of feet from running water.
Yeah.
Right. Which no bathroom is big enough for.
Well, it depends. I mean, some bathrooms might have closer outlets that are grandfathered in, but anything, if you change anything, that technically breaks that. But no, yeah, it's well, you know what, you got working power, you got adapters, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. You got
Yeah,
you
there's
got
no
extension.
GFI in this bathroom, and it's only 2-prong plug.
I think you could buy poles that you could stuff in the ground and then attach a ground wire to, and you could just drill a hole from the outside to the inside to pull the wire in, and just run that up to all your adapters.
Right.
Brian, I have a question. I have a question for you. The
Yeah.
At least the surge protectors you installed are actual surge protectors, not just extension with multiple things, right? They have the little button on them.
They will trip their surge
Yes,
protector.
yes.
Surge protected
Yes.
power
Are they
strips.
actually surge, or are they actually just power strips?
Okay, so like one of them I'm looking at has 8 outlets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It has a USB A and a USB C outlet.
Okay.
Pretty
Okay.
high tech.
It
Okay.
has that has a 2 light. One says grounded, and that's not lit because we know that.
Mm.
And the other is a green light that says protected, and that's on.
Okay. Is there a little button? Yeah. Does it have a breaker? Does it have the little buttony thing on the strip?
There's a switch, but I don't know if it'll just pop like
Okay.
like a
Like
circuit
it
breaker.
doesn't. It may not have a fuse in it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot of power
Or
strips.
if it does have a fuse, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'd be
Anybody-
saying. If you're using that and you don't have ground, get some of the ones that are actually surges and not just power strips.
Yeah.
I mean, that one sounds pretty nice, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of
And
like
think-
that one. But,
I think that
huh?
I think that protected means that it's a surge protector.
I hope so. No, that's
I'm
actually
pretty
a pretty
sure.
nice strip. Who makes
I mean,
that?
that
Is
was
that
the intent
Belkin?
of these things.
Brian, who makes that
There were
strip?
2 primary intentions for this.
Uh-huh.
One was surge
That's for a
protection,
computer, though. I would use that on the computer.
and the
But
brand is Cyber Power.
oh, it's the cyber power. Okay, cool. I'll look it up. I need a new search. I need a new power strip. That's why Gators. So
I have, power strips are one of those things that you could have too many of and not enough at the same time.
I have a lot of power strips. I don't have a lot that are actually surge. They have the
Yeah,
breaker.
most of
Yeah.
mine I don't think have any buttons to
And
trip
I like
them.
that because it has USB and a C on it, which is nice too.
Although ever since I rewired the house, I use less of them, so now I have more spares, which is good because I recently needed one for the basement of my workbench when I started needing to plug some more things in.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we need to start thinking about
Yeah, exactly.
who to raid, and I'm not sure who's live today. Oh, Pineapple
Hoops is live. I saw that earlier.
Yeah. Turbo Nad is live, but he's playing My Summer Car. I don't know how I start following him. But the Graceful Bart, Ray Rachel. You know what? We're gonna check out what Pineapple Hoops is doing. Pineapple Hoops is always fun. We like Pineapple Hoops. She's
Yeah.
I think she's doing some just chatting right now, but it's always fun when she does the hula hooping. But she also does great chatting. I mean, heck, that's what we do. What was that?
Yeah.
Was that an explosion?
It was just
That's exciting. Was that
the screen door
explosions?
No, it was
Oh.
just a screen door.
Oh,
Just
that's not fun.
Great.
Oh, and so I'm walking out of the car.
No pineapples on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
And fortunately, this time the diesel pickup truck left.
What?
Yeah. Now,
Alexa,
Brian,
stop.
Brian, have you ever been on a cruise ship?
Yes.
Do you know what it means to put a pineapple on the door?
Negative.
Oh, okay, so not everyone that's been on a cruise. Okay, apparently if you see a picture of a pineapple on a door, you don't want to go in that room unless you're looking to swing.
Aha.
So,
Actually, we were on an Alaska cruise, and they probably don't do that there. That's probably good for the Caribbean or Hawaii.
I don't know. Sparky Toaster taught us that one.
But what about the Disney cruise, Brian?
But I can chalk that up as something that I learned this time.
There you go. Oh, you know what? So that is what Brian learned. But we do need to start wrapping up the show. So let us now bring it up again.
Shitty.
Oh, I need to mute
But you
Pineapple
feel really
Hoops
shitty.
first.
Well,
All right, so we have once again reached the end of another fun-filled edition of.
Insert title here.
Well, we do try to be educational here.
Chicago.
And now, Brian, surely you've learned more than that. You must have learned something about wiring today. So, Brian, impart some wisdom on us. What have you learned today?
I learned that this house that has 2 plug outlets all over the place, a few 3 plug outlets, the kitchen, and there's one in the bedroom that's 3, but most of them are 2, and the 2 don't have ground wires.
And Mars, what have you learned this week?
I learned that Dune knows where the emergency exits are.
And I've learned that the NHB server is got some problems, but that's okay. I stopped caring about that long ago because we're a Twitch and YouTube show now. But anyways,
Yay.
And speaking of Twitch, have we got some great programming on Twitch for you? We're gonna go raid Pineapple Hoops.
Ooh, yay.
We're gonna be back here next
Yay.
week. Brian, you're still gonna be on location next week, or are you coming back next week?
I will probably be on location next week still.
Yeah.
So next week we could get a shower cap. Actually, if you get back to your hotel and you find a shower cap, you got to tweet a picture with you wearing the shower cap.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We will keep an eye out for that. All right.
You've said me a couple of times. I probably will remember that now. As much as I try to forget.
We will never let you forget. And we will be checking up on you next week. Okay, well, we're going to go raid Pineapple Hoops. Thank you for watching. You all have... Oh, and Sparky Toaster learned that Johnny will not be giving Nordine any Christmas cookies. That is right. Fuck that guy. Good night.
All
Good
right.
night.
All right.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right, and we've raided.
let me change
Okay,
this
we'll see you.
All right, goodbye, Brian.
So I don't hear myself.
Bye, Brian.
There we go. Whew, better. The trippy
All
one?
right, and that was a good show.
Yeah.